everybody, and welcome to episode 101 of All About African Violets. All About African Violets is musically sponsored by Ted Yoder. You can hear and purchase his great music on his website at tedyoder.com. It is also available from iTunes. Hi everybody, come on into the sunroom and join me for episode 101. I just cannot get over it. And I want to thank you all for your patience with the delay in this episode. We had a little 3-week break there. And I also want to thank so many of you for your concern and about my health. And this was a combination of a health issue and also that I was on vacation for 2 weeks. And in the past, as you know, when I've traveled, I have tried to do episodes, in advance and set them to release when I'm away. Excuse me. And this time I did not have the energy to do that. I have asthma, and a lot of people in the world have asthma. I was diagnosed with asthma as an adult, and long story short, I was kind of having an asthma crisis. And when that happens, it's never a good thing. My meds were kind of off kilter, and they have been corrected. And I think you can even probably hear in my voice that I sound a lot more normal. And, interestingly enough, as I was looking back on the 100th episode for all the footage that I was doing and gathering, I noticed that I didn't look very good for the last couple months on the podcast. So I looked pretty sick and didn't even realize it until I went back and was really looking at stuff and was like, wow, you don't look so hot, Annie. Anyway, I'm back, and hopefully we will be back here in regular weekly production, barring any unforeseen weirdness. I'm knocking on wood, and we will just keep moving forward here. And I got to tell you, I'm so happy you guys enjoyed the 100th episode. I actually watched it again myself just to kind of refresh, because I took this 3-week break. I was like, I better see what I said last time. And it did still, certain pieces of it did make me kind of laugh out loud, because clearly I'm just such a goofball. But anyway, thank you. And here we go, 101. And you got to see a lot of stuff that gets edited out. Me doing this and making a mistake. So I'm glad that you had a good time. But let's head to tips and treasures, because I want to tell you that my magazine came while I was away, but I'm going to hold off on that because we had so many questions that I had promised to answer the following week, and then things did not happen as I had hoped. So all you question askers, you have been really patient. So I'm going to do my best to blast through these babies. Some of them, when I realized I was not going to be able to answer them the next week, I did go out on the website and I posted an answer or a response of some sort. So at least the initial question answer person wasn't, or the questioner was not waiting all this time to get a response. But they were all really good questions, and I want to share them with all of you. So Paul said, perhaps in a future episode, might you discuss the importance of air quality? Over the years, when I've experienced growing issues, they are usually in relation to poor air circulation, ventilation, or temperature. And great point, Paul, because this is covered in many of the books. I'm sure there have been articles in the magazine as well, but in the books that I've shared with you that are my favorites, You Can Grow African Violets by the Storks, Pauline Bartholomew's Growing to Show, and of course, the Judge's Handbook published by the AVSA. They all touch on this. In my home, I have ceiling fans. In fact, there's one here. It's up on the top of the sunroom. The sunroom has a very high, like cathedral type ceiling, and there is a fan up there, and it is going 24/7 at the lowest setting, just to keep the air moving around. And in the guest room, there is also a fan, and it's going on the lowest speed 24/7, again, to keep the air moving in that room. It has also been my experience that with powdery mildew, that is really important good air circulation. You just gotta have it. And what I had responded to Paul on the website, I said I have ceiling fans going in the sunroom and guest room. It's one of the reasons why I try to keep my shelves from getting jammed up with too many plants, because they need that space around them so that the air can circulate on the shelves and circulate all the way around. And on temperature, which he asked, and ventilation, that kind of goes along with circulation for me. But violets like the same temps that we like, which is what makes them such a great house plant. And they suffer over 85 and under 65. So hopefully that helps with that question. That's a great one, Paul. Thank you. Ann Farnsworth said, I want to ask about your strep, Angela. And actually, she's not the only one. Peggy Barber also asked about this. And what Ann said is, last time you showed us some leaves with odd patches on the reverse side that you didn't know what it was or what had caused it. This week, although you didn't mention it, this was a few weeks ago, it was obvious you had removed those affected leaves. Did you find out any information about what was going on with them, or did you just decide better safe than sorry and took them off? Well, that's exactly what I did. Ann, and I did not find out anything about Angela. And the interesting patches kind of came and went. So I don't think it was anything harmful. And I made the decision to remove them when I looked closely and could not see any evidence that they had any additional bloom stalks left in them. You know, we learned that from Dr. Jeff Smith back in the way back, that you can look at those leaves down at the base and look to see for the little bumps of the stalks, the blossom stalks that are going to come up and bloom. And I didn't see any evidence of any of that, so I took them off. Janice said, I have a plant of Mama's Backhoe. That's a great name, Mama's Backhoe. Mama's Backhoe that is stunted. It doesn't seem to want to put forth any new leaves. I started it from a leaf. I had a small plant from it. It bloomed, and now it's just sitting there. I have it on my regular fertilizing schedule, even gave it some blossom booster, but it just sits there. I'm wondering what I'm doing wrong, but I realize that it's only a couple plants that are like this. My other violets are growing well and pushing out flower buds. Possibly it's being a diva. I have my lights on 14 hours a day, fertilize several weeks in a row, and then a week of water to rinse the soil. First, Janice, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. And it's been my experience that some plants are divas, the way you phrase it, as is this plant being a diva. And it's not so much that they're divas all the time, but some plants don't like our growing conditions. So I used to see this a lot when I lived in Southern California. I lived in a town called Santa Clarita, which was right at the edge of the desert, and it was blastedly hot all the time. But the club I belonged to was Ventura, and it was right on the shore, on the coast, right at the ocean. So the temperatures and the growing conditions were dramatically different from, 25 minutes from where I lived to the coast, 25, 30 minutes. What I would often have a plant that would just not be doing well. And I would take it to what we called our opportunity table. And somebody from the Ventura, area would see it and go, oh, I want to grow that. And I'd see it in a show and it would look fabulous because it loved their growing conditions and not mine. So it could just be that you've got a plant that isn't happy in your home. It also could be, for regular, everyday, whatever, I do not keep my lights on as long as you have yours. I go with 12 hours a day. And so maybe, but again, remember, that's what works for me. And if everything else is growing well and doing well at 14 hours, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It is quite possible that, maybe this is just a crabby plant. There, if you've looked at it closely and you don't see any evidence of maybe something more serious, then, I think it's just fine. If it was mine and it just wasn't growing, which you're going to hear about later, if it just wasn't doing what you think it should be doing, maybe it's time to let it go or give it to someone who has different growing conditions than yours. But I don't think, it does not mean that you're doing anything wrong. So I don't think you need to worry about that. I have a plant that I adore, and it's one of Hortense Pittman's plants. It's called Precious Pink. And it is and it's a semi, and it used to grow for me really well in California, except that it, for me, was a mildew magnet, and it would get powdery mildew all the time. Nothing else would have powdery mildew. I moved it from shelf to shelf, different sides of the room. It didn't matter where I put it, it would get powdery mildew. It wasn't happy in my growing conditions. So even, you have to, that's an individual decision for you. If you want to baby it along a little more, see how it does, maybe change its location. If you have more than one location in your home where you're growing, that's something to consider as well. But again, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. And Janice also said, I have a friend who is trying to find a source of the Allegro series of African violets hybridized by Janet Stromberg. Boy, she has some really wonderful plants. I have grown a few of them, and I don't have any at the moment because I haven't found any lately. And Janice says her friend has checked the AVSA list of suppliers. Good job, and a good first step. And there are a few who have one or two of the series, but she's looking for more. Any help you can shed will be greatly appreciated. Thanks. Now, I know that somebody commented while I was away, and I can't find the comment. I think it was on the Facebook page. And they said that Janet is active in one of the online groups. And I think it's an internet group. And I don't know why I want to say that maybe it's Bratz, the AV Bratz, but I'm not sure. So if the person who left that comment or who knows of where Janet is active on the internet, if you would please leave a comment on the website, it will be appreciated by many, many people who I think would love to maybe catch up with her and find out the best place to get some more of her hybrids. So sorry, I'm not more help, but hopefully there's that person who knew will step up and speak up. Robin did not have a question, but pointed out some really great info. Now, she commented, and this was, I believe, episode 99, where we talked about consistent care. And what she says is, this episode's lesson can't be overstated. Consistent care is so important, watering in particular. I learned this in a dramatic way, as you will see. In early June, I potted up several, too many, she says, baby Buckeye butterflies starters, and all were basically the same size. Some were put in 3-ounce solo cups and some in 1.5 ounce. All were in the same mix and placed in a small tray for community watering. 2 months later, the growth of the 3-ounce cup group has eclipsed the growth of the 1.5 ounce group. Now, I considered the RO water, that's reverse osmosis, guys. The RO water I used might be a problem, and or the different size cups as the cause. Logically, more root growth allowed for more leaf growth. As a seasoned grower pointed out, though, that was not the true cause of the vast size difference. The smaller pots simply dried out faster and suffered more of a drench-drown syndrome. And I love that. The drench-drown type thing. It's dried out and you've drenched it and it drowns. She says, I'm always in a hurry and would judge the need for water by picking up the 3-ounce cups, easier to grasp. And the 3-ounce ones, guys, are these solo cups, the ones that I use, that you see on my shelves. Those are the 3-ounce ones. She says, I would pick up the 3-ounce ones because they were easier to grasp, but by the time the 3-ounce size was ready, the 1.5 size was bone dry. I am perplexed why this didn't dawn on me. Consistent care is the rule now. And then she says, limit your collection. I'm still working on that. And then she had a photo bucket photo, a link to that. And I'm going to post the link to that in the show notes so you guys can see. It's very graphically clear what she's talking about. So Robin, thank you so much, because this was really, really, this is a great example of what we were talking about 2 episodes ago, and a really great example of consistent care. So, and it's one of the reasons that I try to use very similar pot sizes, because you got, that way you kind of know, okay, this one is this size, this one is, I try not to use a lot of, I do find stuff, like for different things when I'm doing things a different way, like at a restaurant, and if something came in, or they gave you a condiment cup and you think, ooh, that's the perfect size for something, I'm going to take that home. I don't do that as much as I used to, because I try to be consistent in the sizes and the pots that I use. Then Rhonda Boothby said, Annie, do you ever use a magnifier to check for pests when bringing home leaves or plants? If so, what would you suggest is strong enough for mites? Now, and I did answer this on the website. And what I said to Rhonda was, no, I do not. I practice isolation and watch for things in the isolation room. On leaves, because she asked about leaves and plants. On leaves, you usually don't have to worry about them at all if you wash them in dishwashing soap. And if you think you have, and then I wrote, if you think you have mites, I would then immediately isolate any plants you feel could be affected. Many people advocate spraying, but I won't do that again. You guys have heard me say that a million times. And if you found mites, if it was me, I'd toss it out. In the words of the late Pauline Bartholomew, when in doubt, throw it out. I don't look for pests when bringing home plants or leaves. But again, remember, I am generally not buying a plant at a big box store where I think this might be more of it could possibly be more of an issue. No commercial grower of African violets would intentionally sell a plant that had mites. Nobody's going to do that, guys. It's just no one ever intends. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. That's a random Monty Python joke. Nobody would ever do that intentionally. Unfortunately, things happen from time to time, or a bug gets picked up. I had you guys have all heard my mite story from someone whose eyesight was failing, and they just didn't really realize they had them, and they presented differently when I got them home, and I thought we were having a very hot summer. They kind of looked like it was heat related, but it wasn't. So isolation, practice good, consistent care. Be careful of what you buy. Look carefully for things, and just be sure that you isolate. And again, when in doubt, throw it out. I can't say that enough, really. That kind of goes right along with limit your collection. So thank you guys for being so patient and waiting for me to really respond to your questions here on the podcast. So I'm a talking head today. But it is time now for you guys to take a look at what's on the stands. And you're going to see them just as I saw them. I was away from home for 2 weeks. And my wonderful cousin, Mary Ellen, came over. Everything's on reservoirs. And she came over and topped them off while I was away. I didn't lose very much. And you're going to see everything that I saw. So this is, I think, a slightly longer look because I point out a few things to you. And go take a look, and we'll talk some more when you get back. Okay, guys, we're here in the guest room, and you're seeing everything pretty much as I saw it when I came home from my trip last night. It's Thursday morning, and I'm filming this for you now. So I want you to see how everything is tilting toward the light, because although my cousin is really great about watering, I don't ask her to do anything else. So you can see that this plant needs a turn to go that way. And you can see that everything is growing here. This is the dome tray. I just took the dome off so you could see it. And I'm tripping over my suitcase stuff because that's where I explode my suitcase here in my guest room. So, wow, you can see there's a lot going on. This happens to be Jersey Girl Trail. This was one of the first ones that sprouted. And this is Granger's Wonderland. And here is Jersey Little Devil. And you know that I've been watching it. And guys, it's been in, I gave it these 2 weeks while I was gone, and nothing. We got nothing. So this one is going to go to its great reward. It's just not growing for me. Oops, I knocked these over. Yikes. And clearly it's time to take the dome off. And I'm going to water everybody, and I'll put the dome back on but I will open it so that everything's not totally freaked out. This is the Champagne Pink. This is the crown of Champagne Pink that I grabbed from my plant in the office that I'm going to grow downstairs. And this one is Rolling Pink Cloudburst. This is a crown that came off of that. And these were in the dome, but you can see that they are facing the light. So here, if I give them a turn, they're gonna kind of want to lighten themselves up. And here is now this is one of the ones that I put in. This is Sapphire Halo, guys, and it, while I was away, sprouted. So it still needs to be under a dome. The other one that I put in while I was, not long before I left, was Ode to Beauty. These were put in on 12 July. And they're going great. So now let's step over here. Here is Superman, and it is blooming true. But it is time for me to take these blossoms off. And guys, here, look who bloomed while I was away, Sweet Sam. Unfortunately, this is not Sweet Sam. And I am unable to figure out what it is. Sweet Sam is a double pink with a variable white edge. This is a single star blossom, beautiful pink, with, I don't know if you can tell, but it's got a little bit of purple fantasy on it. As you guys probably know, fantasy blossoms are usually not my thing. I got a couple that I love, but this is going to go to its great reward, because even doing a little research, there was nothing that popped out by the same hybridizer, and I believe this was probably just mislabeled. And I bought it, it was just mislabeled. So I don't think you're going to be seeing this one again anytime soon. So let's drop down to the second shelf. These are the show plants that I was preparing for Missouri Valley. But as I've probably already told you, I'm not going to be able to go to Missouri Valley after all, unfortunately. So, but you can see that things are already, they were starting. But again, can you see that it's leaning this way? So they grew while I was away. There. Here's this rambling right along, which seems to like it in here. Wow, it's such an interesting plant still. Orbicularis verpurpurea, Orbicularis. This is that other new one, the S. pendula 2004, I think. I forget the rest of the number, sorry. Let's see what's going on down here. Everybody's looking pretty good. Sans Souci Coco has a leaf that needs to come up there. Oh, now, interesting. This is the only plant that I've seen this on thus far, and this is Fresh Air. But it's pretty clear that the crown is pretty much gone on this one. So I may be losing that one as well. Guys, this stuff happens when you are gone on vacation. I was gone for 2 weeks. And my cousin is wonderful. Oh, She is great. She'll come over and fill the reservoirs, and that's it. And I'm so thrilled to have that help. But, oh, look, it's really kind of growing interestingly, isn't it? And we've got stuff that's getting ready to bloom. That's Rolling Dark Water getting ready to bloom. And again, take a look. You can see this is leaning toward the light. And here is Ace of Diamonds that just blossomed while I was away. I think it's Ace of Diamonds, isn't it? Whoa! Yes. Oh, I knocked it over. Hang on. There we go. Oh, come on, stand up. I need to check in with Kent Stork and get the actual description of this plant. Somebody asked me, hang on, very specifically about this one. And it does look like kind of like a leaf chimera, but I don't know that for sure. I think it's just a type of mosaic foliage. And this is River Falls Twilight. Fix that later. Okie dokie. All right, we've got a couple of other things getting ready to bloom. Dolores' Chantilly Lace getting ready to bloom. I was hoping a few more things might have bloomed while I was away. To give me, you know, if, well, there's Sweet Sam is going to go, so I'll have a little more space on that shelf. And I don't think we've got anything else down here. Again, here's another one really leaning. See it? Leaning toward the light. There we go. All right, let's, now I haven't even been down in the basement yet. Let's go take a look. Could be interesting. Okay guys, I'm down in the basement, and you can see that DS Black Magic kept growing and blooming while I was away. And you can see that Heartland's White Gold did the same thing. And you can see that absolutely nothing is happening on Angela or Texas Hot Chili. Although the foliage looks fabulous, we got nothing going on, except I think I got a cricket down here or a cicada or something. I hear it. Must be in the window well. So I'm not sure what to do here. I'm just not quite sure. Oh, it looks like I thought there might be a, oh no, there's not. Nothing coming. No clue. Let's go upstairs. Okay guys, we're up in the sunroom, and everything is kind of trying to bloom, but there's nothing too exciting going on here. So obviously I need to do some grooming, and this is Cajun's Cherished Hope. I moved it out of the window and over here during my trip so that my cousin wouldn't have to look around for it. And I don't know, things looking pretty good here. But I gotta say, this is Moonlight Lantern, Columbia Moonlight Lantern. Guys, I think this one is gonna go. As much as I have wanted to grow it, it had a great blossom. It just doesn't seem real happy here, and I've got a lot of things that have died off like this. This stem is very, very woody, and the stems that I've restarted, it just doesn't seem like a good fit here for me. On the other hand, Columbia Firebird is still going strong and looking great. Linda Darnell blooming a little bit, and everybody else just kind of hanging in there. Got a wonky leaf right here, leaf tip. So I will likely pull that off. And Petrocosmia carrii, I'm kind of happy, looking pretty good. Just, I don't know what that is. I think something spilled on it. And this is Tenary's Royal Blue Trailer. And once again, guys, I'm just getting these big leaves, and I think I just don't have the patience for this one anymore. It's not really growing the way that I envisioned it growing, so that one's probably going to go too. That is the look at what's on the stands. I'll be right back. So isn't it, I mean, you can really see when they have been in one place for an extended period of time, how they lean toward the light. So this, I think, was a really good graphic example where you could really see the plants just leaning in, so to speak. And they all, you know, that's, sometimes you don't you just do those turns, the quarter turn or half a turn, when it gets to be a little more like they are now, to get them to straighten back out. But when you are caring for them consistently, you are doing that on a consistent weekly basis, sometimes daily. You're looking at your stands every day. And I think that this is so you can see how quickly something can change in your collection. I was gone for 2 weeks, and one plant lost its center, and a lot of other plants were leaning toward the middle. And so I think that I hope that you guys get this. It's so important to look at them and check your collection and work with your plants on a daily basis. So, and you also heard me say that, unfortunately, I am not going to be able to go to the Missouri Valley Show in October. So the plants that are on that second shelf are no longer on a pre-show schedule. So we're just going to move forward on that one without the pre-show schedule. The next show that I will hopefully be able to attend will be the Illinois State Show, which will be in April next year, and it'll be in the northwest suburbs of Chicagoland in Niles at the Golf Mill Mall. So, but that's a ways away, and I can plan for that, when we get closer to that time, and we can talk about it then. So I think the other thing that I showed you is I showed you Sweet Sam. Now, Sweet Sam bloomed. I'm going to set my notes down there. Sweet Sam bloomed while I was away, and here it is. Now, here is the description of Sweet Sam. Sweet Sam is a registered semi-miniature trailer, and it was hybridized. It was registered in December of 1999. I'm doing the Wilson thing again, sorry. Hybridized by Pat Harris. And the description of Sweet Sam is a double pink / variable pink and or white mottled edging on the top petals, medium green, pointed, heart-shaped, serrated. So, guys, take a look at this. This is not Sweet Sam, because what you see here is a single star blossom, and it's the foliage. Remember, we were really looking at the foliage initially, which, by the way, looks fabulous, nice, beautiful, even medium green. Got plenty of crowns in there ready to be potted on if this were blooming true, which it is not. Now, and there is, it's this beautiful star blossom, and there is a little bit of a light fantasy on it, purple fantasy. So I did a little research in First Class too. Now, there was no photo of, there is a photo of Sweet Sam, of the blossom, but there is no photo of the variety I'm going to talk to you about. But I did I pulled up Pat Harris's plants, and I looked for a single pink semi-miniature trailer. And there is one with a description that could very well be this plant. And it's called Summer Stars by Pat Harris. It is not registered, and it's the description is single pink large star / purple fantasy, and medium green pointed serrated foliage, and it's a semi-miniature trailer. Well, you could make a case for this being Summer Stars, except, guys, we really don't know. This could have sported. This could have been a completely different plant that sported into this, and because we don't know, I'm not going to keep this, because I can't say for sure that this is Summer Stars. Obviously, if it's Sweet Sam, it has sported dramatically, but you just don't know for sure. And this is why it's so important that you, and this is an honest mistake. Stuff like this happens. This probably was mislabeled by someone who was repotting, probably helping the grower I got it from, which now I can't even remember where. I know I got it at National, but this is a very honest mistake, and it happens. Sometimes stuff gets mislabeled. So Sweet Sam isn't Sweet Sam. And even if it was Summer Stars, guys, I likely would not keep it. Fantasy Blossoms are not always my favorite. I have a few that I adore. I love Belinda Thibodeau's beautiful fantasy plants. I love Paula Bowles, and there are a few others out there that I do like. But this isn't one of them. So this one is going to go. It's going to go because it's truthfully, an unknown trailer. This is why it's so important that you are careful when you are transplanting and potting up. Make sure that you are writing names on things right away. Don't fall into the trap of going, oh yeah, I'll remember which one that is, because you know what? You won't. And you've seen me actually demonstrate that to you in the past. It's not great. So let me put this back here. I just really wanted to share that with you because I think it's really important. First Class 2, we're not supposed to be in there looking for pictures and going, yeah, I think this is what I have, because you don't really know what it is. If you buy a violet without a name, buy it and enjoy it. And don't try to figure out what it is. If you were to put in, and here's the other thing. Now, I only looked up Pat Harris. There could be other single pink, semi-miniature trailers. It could be anything. So you can't do that. First Class 2 is there for classification and entries, and it's wonderful to look through the photos. I do it myself regularly, particularly when there's an update, because I love to see, what things look like, and maybe there's something I might want to look for, a new variety of some sort that has become added to the database or registered. But anyway, because I gotta stop talking here because it's time to get the bail money ready. Because I've got a lot of stuff to share with you. We are in fall. It's mid-September. I know I've already missed some of the shows. Some of you have posted your show info on the Facebook page and on our website. Yay, I think that's great. Thank you for doing that. I encourage you, if you have not, list your show on the AVSA website under events. It's easy to do, okay? And here I've got like 4 or 5 things to share with you for next weekend. Friday and Saturday, September 25th and 26th, Cedar Valley African Violet Club is having a judged show and sale in Waterloo, Iowa at the Crossroads Mall. Saturday, September 26th, the Rocky Mountain African Violet Council is having their fall sale in Centennial, Colorado at the Tagawa Garden Center. On also Saturday, September 26th, First Austin African Violet Society is having their fall plant sale in Austin, Texas at the Austin Area Garden Center in the Zilker Botanical Garden. Also Saturday, September 26th, the African Violet Society of San Francisco is having it says a show and sale. I'm guessing that's a judged show and sale, but I don't know for sure, so you need to check with them. They're having a show and sale in San Francisco at the San Francisco County Fair Building. And Sunday, September 27th, the Toronto African Violet Society and the Toronto Gesneriad Society are having their annual fall sale in Toronto, Canada at the Toronto Botanical Gardens in the Floral Hall. So lots going on next weekend all over North America. So if you are near any one of those events, I really encourage you to go and check it out and maybe make some new friends, maybe find a club to join, and maybe find some new plants for your collection. You just never know. Well, guys, thank you it's time to keep moving forward. And I just really want to thank you for sticking with me here. We're on episode 101. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think we would get this far. That's for sure. And I really appreciate you, all of you. Thank you so much for watching. You can always leave questions on the website. You can leave them on Facebook, and I encourage you to do so. I do try to answer them in a timely manner. So again, thanks for your patience on these that I didn't get to as quickly as we might have hoped. And remember, and if I don't know the answer, I still generally know somebody who will, and I will find out for you. So I hope your days in the coming week will be filled with all the things you love. Good growing. I'll see you next time.